What's going on, guys? Liam here, and the grand final is done. Penrith Panthers get it done 26-24. And wow, what a game. That was absolutely insane. I literally cannot believe what I just witnessed. And I was doing a TikTok live, and unfortunately the live got banned because I was showing a bit of the game. But I wish it didn't, because you can normally download your reactions. And my face was, I could not believe, I wasn't even cheering, I was just in shock of what just went down. It was bananas, man. Like, I am still absolutely blown away. And let's get into it, man. Let me know what you guys thought about this grand final. Let me know what you think about the Panthers 3-peating. What you thought about the Broncos. Let me know if you hit any hectic punts. Just drop any thoughts on the game, man. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about it, because yeah, that was insane. Absolutely insane. Now, guys, I'll probably do a couple of videos for the internationals, but this is pretty much it. I do want to thank everyone. We did hit our 3K target. You're all legends. So I said if I hit 3K, I'm coming back next year. So we're going to be back next year. I'll obviously put a bit more time, effort, and money into this, and make it a bit better. Like I said, I'm just a bloke chatting into a microphone and a camera about footy, and I really enjoy it. And I said if there's at least a small audience, I'll kick on with it and make it better and make it worth everyone's while, and do some dope giveaways as well. But let's get into this damn thing, because I'm in awe. I need some of this before I do this, man. I cannot believe what I just witnessed, and I don't think people realise what they just witnessed either. Obviously, it was a good, close game, and a lot of people are just seeing it for that, but it was a brilliant game from both teams. But I don't think people realise we just witnessed immortality, man. Like, 3-peat, I know people are, oh yeah, whatever, like. First of all, I think it was, in my opinion, the greatest grand final I've ever seen. I think it's the greatest grand final ever. I've only been watching footy since the 2000s, so, it's nothing crazy, but, probably will start watching around 2000, 2001, but people will argue the Cowboys fans will argue the Cowboys-Broncos one, and I will not argue with you, because if I was a Cowboys supporter, I would think that one's the best one too. But me as a neutral for both, this was it. It was so damn good, and just the quality of rugby league. Like, both these teams are stacked, and it was two amazing offenses versus two amazing defenses, and it was insane. And like I said, I believe we just witnessed immortality, and here's why. First of all, Parramatta did this in like the early 80s. People still go on about that, man. People still talk about that. Parramatta have one of the biggest fan bases in the sport because of that. They haven't won anything since. Like, nothing. Or did they win one more in the late 80s? Whatever. They like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've just done something that a team did in the 80s is still talked about now. We're going to be talking about this Penrith team for decades to come, and this game in particular will be played. Snippets of this game will be played probably in every grand final for the rest of this century. Maybe not century, but decades. They really will. It's that, and I just am blown away at how good it is. And look, I'll talk about Panthers in a sec, but first I want to give the Broncos a rap here for a sec. Broncos, for me, were brilliantly bad. No, badly brilliant. Whatever way it goes. They got blitzed in that first half. I'm trying to give them a compliment, by the way. Just if you're a Broncos fan, bear with me. I'm compliments coming. I'm trying to get it out. They got blitzed in the first half. Like, I looked at the halftime stats. I can't look at them now because the game's finished. But they got absolutely blitzed. Paddy Carrigan got put in his seat a bunch of times. Payne Haas's meters were half what they normally are after his first stint. They got their line speed. They were cooked at 11 minutes. There was a break about 11 minutes in. Like, the ball went out or whatever. And there was Broncos players either squatting on the ground, hands on the heads or hands on the hips. Every single player. Yet they managed to turn it around. Not just turn it around and get back into the game. okay? They got back into it and got way 16 points up, I believe. Like, that is... I don't think people realise how good that is from the Broncos. Like, they literally... The best team of the modern era who haven't looked like losing. Like, you know what I mean? They've just been so far ahead of everyone in finals as of late. Are up and dominating them, and they managed to turn it around and not just get back into the game, get put in a position where it's almost hard to lose. That is enormous from the Broncos. I don't think people realise how huge that is. And if you're a Brisbane Broncos fan, they were not perfect tonight. And we'll go through all the stats and stuff soon. I'll show you where they lost the game. But to be able to get back into that game and get up is massive. And you should be super proud of the boys, man. Like I said, there was a couple stinker moments from a couple of players, but it was just like the grit and guts to do that against the best team of the modern era. I don't think people realise how special that is. Absolutely incredible. Broncos should be super proud of themselves, and I'll give a bunch of players a wrap shortly. But yeah, it was just absolutely enormous. And Ezra Mam, we'll talk about the individual players more shortly, but I knew Ezra Mam was going to be a brilliant player. Like, I did. You could see he was so good. I didn't know he had God mode in him. That dude went God. That dude hit the cheat code in GTA 4. R1, R2, L1, R2, circle, square, round, and just went God mode. All weapons. It was a wrap. Like I said, I knew he was good, but Jesus Christ, I mean, Queensland team, like Munster goes down. Do you miss anything? Yeah, you do. But not much. You get a very different, more electric player, and look at that. That is 44, 52, and 50. 3 tries in 10 minutes. I could not believe what I was watching. This game was so good, man. This game, like I said in this game, I said before this game on my TikTok, I said, I think this could be one of the highest quality games we've ever seen. And the stats sort of won't reflect that, but I think it's because the other teams were so good that they couldn't stop it. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, it was just like, yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I'll get to more how good Broncos players are and stuff soon. But yeah, like I just want to give Broncos a massive rap. One thing I was a little disappointed in, I'm not going to lie, was Kevy after the game. I watched this, and you watch it if you want. I mean, it's not bad or anything. I just didn't really like his attitude in it. He's bummed. It wasn't so much that. It was more, I don't know. I was sitting there going, he's like, oh, Nathan Cleary was all right. I'm like, all right. And then, yeah, it just took him a really long time to acknowledge that Penrith were good. You know what I mean? And it was just more like, I don't know. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but you know, sometimes when someone loses, and they're like, they just handle it so well. I don't think he handled it poorly, but I was just like, oh, it wasn't what I wanted. If I was a Broncos fan and I heard that, I'd be like, oh, that's not what I want to hear. Like, yeah, it was. I don't know. I didn't like it. But what do you do? But yeah, it was brilliant from the Broncos. Now, Penrith Panthers. Just before we get into the stats and all that sort of stuff. They were great, but Nathan Cleary, I honestly... Here's a story about Nathan Cleary when I first discovered him, all right? It was about 5 games into his career. He was 18, just turned 18, I believe, or very early into his 18s. And I watched him play. And I love my mum more than anything. And let's talk... I swear on my mum's life I said this. I was watching him play, and I knew he was Ivan's son, obviously, and Ivan was a handy player. I watched him play, and I just went, I genuinely think this guy could be the greatest player of all time. 5 games into his career, and it wasn't because he was like, say, for example, players like Reece Walsh and Ezra Mam, they come along, right? But they normally don't end up super, super greats because your athleticism fades. Like, Reece Walsh is not going to be as fast as he is when he's 30, when he is right now. Like, Reece Walsh is at his absolute maximum speed. When I was watching Nathan Cleary play, I watched his defense, his tackle technique, his build, the weight. I'd never seen an 18-year-old control a game better, like as a halfback, than I'd ever seen before. Like, for example, like some of the good up-and-coming halves, right? It's like Walker and who's the guy from Souths? Lachlan Ilias and all that, they're actually pretty good. Like, they're 22, 21, 22, 23, around that age. Nathan Cleary in that game, his third or fourth game, was better than those guys have ever played. And it's not like he didn't do anything elite. I was like, wow. Like, most halves don't get good until they're 28. Like, I tell you, like Lachlan Ilias and Walker and all that, they're going to be very good. But they're going to be like, most other halves, and they're probably not going to hit their straps until they're 26, 27, 28, 29. But yeah, like I said, I'd never seen a kid control a game at 18, 5 games into his career. I never, like, perfect kicking technique, perfect running technique, like, just everything. I was like, this guy could be the greatest we've ever seen. And it was also because all the fundamentals were there and he wasn't relying on athleticism. I was like, he can play till he's 35, 40. Not 40, but you know what I mean? He can play at a high level till he's 35 because he doesn't rely on any supreme athleticism. Obviously, he's a pretty athletic guy, and it's crazy to see 6-7 years later, he's shattering so many records already. Like, he's 2 Clive Churchills at 25. Like, he's already got, I'm pretty sure he's already over 200 finals points, which is barely anyone's done. Like, just for example, I think Reynolds just hit it at 34. He's already in the top 20 for leading point scorers of all time in the NRL. He's 25. Like, this kid could have every record broken before he's 30. It's crazy that people sit there and don't think he's good. Like, I'm sitting here just going, this kid is a Dally M medal and a premiership away, or not even a premiership. Just if he gets one more premiership before he's 30 and he gets a Dally M along the way as well, he is literally going to own every record that a halfback has ever had. It is insane. His win percentage, everything. The way he took that game by the scruff of the neck, because like it was quite even in a weird way. I would talk about it this way, right? If Ezra Mann wasn't in the Broncos, Penrith win this 36-6. If Nathan Cleary wasn't in this team, Broncos win this game 36-8. And that's the way it was. A lot of the players cancelled each other out, and there was a handful of players that stood up. It was Critter from Penrith, and obviously Nathan Cleary. And there's and then there was a lot of other solid performances. But it was more, no one could really get on, like Tago, Herbie couldn't get on top of Tago, you know what I mean? It was like more of just cancelling each other out. Like, Herbie was brilliant, Tago was brilliant, so-and-so was brilliant, so-and-so was brilliant too. Or, you get what I'm saying. Moses was great, so was Fleggs. It's sort of a lot of cancelling each other out. And then it was just, it was just absolutely crazy. It was just, I'm just blown away. Like, the way he touched that ball when Reynolds booted it out on the full, the way he kicked that 40-20, had the plums to kick that 40-20 when they were behind by 12? 8 at that point? 10 maybe? You've just scored a try and you go on the third, you go, yeah, bang, and you kick a 40-20. The try assist, then the try. I've never seen a halfback just grab a game by the absolute scruff of the neck. Grab a grand final. And like I just gave the Broncos raps about being so good to come back against Penrith. He did this against a red-hot, cracking hot Brisbane Broncos team. Like, this Broncos team was in elite form, and Nathan Cleary ripped it apart. It was special, absolutely special. Now, let's get into the game a bit. Now, the game kicked off, and like I said, Broncos pack has been getting raps all week, and I genuinely felt like Moses, Leota and Fisher took that pretty to heart. They always get skipped over as best props and stuff in the game, and I'll show you some stats in a minute that will sort of show you why. But they blitzed the Broncos early. They really did. Like I said, there was a period in that game, I think it was 11 minutes in, where every Broncos was either on their haunches, had hands on their heads or hands on their hips, like hunched over, 11 minutes into the game. They came out so much faster, so much quicker, hit so much harder, tackled so much harder, wrestled, like, line speed was, like, they were substantially better. Like, that forward pack blitz, like, Like I was in this, I had Penrith's back. I was sitting there going, "Why is everyone saying Broncos pack's better when they've never beat the Panthers pack?" If you watch my YouTube, you would have heard me say it. I'm like, you got to beat the best to be the best. You can't beat the guys behind you and say we're better than those guys now. But again, they came back though, which was brilliant. But we'll get to that. But yeah, it was pretty damn brilliant. Like it was. That first 20, 25 minutes was pretty brilliant. Now, a little dodgy, but fair cop. Flags got a HIA 22 minutes in. Now, I know they said it came from the bunker, but I looked back and I could not find him getting hit in the head. He needed a spell. It was just right when he needed a spell, 22 minutes in. Because they were, honestly, if that didn't happen, I think they could have been in big trouble. They were on the back foot hard, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was a HIA. I'm not sitting there blaming anything, but it was a very crazy timed HIA. And like I said, I went back and watched every tackle around that, and Flegler did not get hit in the head. If he did, it was like hands like this. But what really helped with the Broncos with was he came off obviously 15 minutes, and then he got to come back on, and then Payne Haas came back on, got a quick break because I was. About 3-4 minutes before half time, right, I was like, Broncos are going to get done by 40 here, because pretty much what happened was Penrith's pack was blitzing them so hard, and Payne Haas was still on the field, like with 6-7 minutes to go, maybe around about, and I'm sitting there going, oh, what's going to happen when he goes off? Like him and Flags are about to, you know what I mean? I was sitting there going, him and Flags are like off at the same, they're getting blitzed. And yeah, it was really good timing for the Broncos that Payne got a spell before halftime, and Flegs came back on and was massive. He was so. For example, guys, in my preview, I was actually a big advantage I thought for the Broncos was the bench. For Penrith was the bench. Lindsay Smith and Spencer Leniu. I was like, geez, if Paddy and Payne and Flegs have to come off, or even just two of the three, I was like, these guys will hold their own and blitz and, these sort of guys. But to be fair, Haas came off, Flegs went on, and I thought Broncos were super dominant through the middle at that point. And I was like, and in fact, I think they were so much better that I think Ivan Cleary actually panic put Moses and Fisher-Harris back in earlier than he would have liked to. It wasn't super early, but he put them in, I'd say, a set or two earlier than he would have liked to. We see in a minute that they actually did play a few more minutes than they normally actually do. Because normally he can hold them out for ages because Spence and Lindsay are just blitzing. But Lindsay Smith and Spence gave a dumb penalty. I think Lindsay Smith gave a couple dumb penalties. Line speed wasn't insane. Spence had a couple good runs. Lindsay isn't a big runner. And then I really think that, I wouldn't say panic, but Ivan brought them in a bit early. He was like, oh, they're getting on top of us here. And Flex was running right. He was being really, really good. I was actually pretty impressed with him. So like I said, Broncos pack definitely stepped it up a gear. But unfortunately, yeah, it was that decision by Reynolds to go short on the So the first one they got wrong, they got a penalty, right? The second, I'm not blaming Reynolds for them losing. So they kick short. They miss their assignment. Mitch Kenny scores. And then the second one, he kicks out 8-0. I mean, look, I know Broncos came back really good, but to come back from 8 points, it's that was bad. They should have kicked long there. Like going short, like going up by 2, like having to score twice to get ahead. And look what the score ended up, 26-24. I mean, it was literally that penalty goal from Reynolds 3. That was a difference. They get both 4 tries each. Penalty goal from Cleary wins it. So that was I remember, I think Freddie said it. He said, I understand doing it when you need the ball back, or only getting out to 6-0, or going down 2-0 when it's even isn't a huge deal, but going down 8-0 is a big deal. 8-0 is much harder to come back from than it is 2 or 6 or 6 or less, sort of thing. So I do think that was a big mess up from Adam Reynolds, and I I don't know who missed their assignment on the original one. I saw Paddy Carrigan trying to cover. I don't know if it was his fault, but it was someone's there. Obviously, Mitch Kenny just running through for a try. But yeah, that was pretty bad, man. Then we had the Flegler try, absolutely brilliant. His second stint was absolutely brilliant. Flegler, massive. Yeah, absolutely enormous. Now, the second half kicks off and like I just mentioned before, I genuinely think if Ezra Mann's not in that team, Broncos looked pretty cooked still. But just Ezra Mann's energy, and it's so much. You always find a bit of energy when you score a try or when you're on a run. You just find it. It's like adrenaline or something. Yeah, and Broncos fans just thank God for Ezra because Jesus Christ, he was God mode. It was absolutely ridiculous. And he really, like, I sat there and I was sitting there watching it, and when he scored those 3 tries, and wow, it was absolutely insane, absolutely brilliant. Now, unfortunately, Penrith, and if you guys, again, if you've been watching my YouTube for a while, what have I been saying about Penrith all year? I said they got the best last 15 minutes in the game. You have to kill them because they sort of remind me of the All Blacks back when Dan Carter and Richie McCaw and all that were in there. Like the amount of times the Wallabies would be up on those teams with 15, 20, 25 minutes to go. And then I know this game didn't turn out that way, and then the All Blacks will end up winning by 16 points. And you're like, well, how the hell did that happen? Because they play for 80. And Broncos for me, I think, and this is what I was sort of saying, like the errors in the first half, the complete. I just felt like when push came to shove in the last 15 minutes, there was no petrol left. Like Cleary just blitzed. Yeah, it was just, yeah, like if they didn't have to do all that defending, I think they probably been able to defend that a bit, but that last 20 minutes a bit better. But like I said, and this is what I was trying to say, guys, like they really did lose in the first half. I know it was only 6-8 and they're only down, but they did so much tackling. They looked gone. You know what? It's just body language. And I know they got on top early, but Broncos to me still looked tired when they ran out on for their second stint. For their second half. I was looking around, I'm like, is this a because I went to grab a beer, came back, I sat down and it was about to kick off. And I was like, is this like after a try in the first half? Because Broncos still look like they'll still look like they were huffing and puffing and stuff. I was like, they look fatigued already. They've just had their half-time break. And again, I know they got on top and they started running and then they looked energised again, but they were clearly running on fumes for that last little bit. And yeah, I really do think they actually lost this game in the first half. But yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, like I said, Ezra Mann was just God mode, man. Now let's go through some players, guys, some performances now. Reece Walsh in the first half was arse crack. Like, he was so trash, it wasn't funny. Second half had some good moments, but, I mean, let's have a look at his stats for a sec. But, Jesus Christ, he was awful in the first half. Reece Walsh tackle efficiency, 40%, 2 tackles made, 3 missed. Tackle breaks, so where'd he go? How many metres did he get? 133 metres, pretty solid. 14 post contact, 2 line breaks, try assist, great. 10 tackle breaks, brilliant. Pretty quick play the ball speed for him, 3.2. Where's the errors? So tackles made 2, tackles missed 3, and then errors 3. That's too much. Herbie Farnworth 3 errors. Jesse Arthur's error. I knew they were in trouble when Jesse Arthur's made an error. That guy is so damn solid. Jesus Christ, yeah, you can't, like I said, it sort of sucks because, like, again, if you've been watching me all year or even before I started, I said I think Reece Walsh's hands will let the Broncos down, and they hadn't all year. Like, he has had games where he's made 2 or 3. I think he had a game where he had 5 errors, but they were good enough to defend it. But it's pretty crazy that, Jesus Christ, in the biggest game of his career, he drops 3 handling errors. Oh, it sucks, man. And even Herbie, I actually think he was brilliant. I actually thought, Herbie was almost worth his 3 errors. He was so good. But, yeah, Reece, Reece did some brilliant stuff, but I don't think... Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, if you want to look at the negative, 3 missed tackles, so 40% and then 3 errors. I don't know, you let me know, but I don't think that quite makes up for 2 line breaks and a try assist. Maybe it does. Maybe if it win, they do. But when you lose, you look at that sort of stuff, I guess you could sort of say. Now, another thing I wanted to point out as well, what I thought Penrith did brilliantly was... I don't know if you guys noticed, but Fisher Harris was running really wide, and you actually watched it. And then when Lindsay came on as well, he was doing it. And Moses even did it a couple of times too. Now, they were just steaming at, what's his name? Adam Reynolds. They were just pinning him like the whole time, and he was brilliant. Adam Reynolds was brilliant, but they made him make so many tackles, and you watch it, like Fisher Harris was out pretty much playing second row, just sprinting and running at Reynolds, and made him make a bunch of tackles. And look at this from Reynolds. Like I've said this a million times, and this is what Penrith do brilliantly. They'll target your playmakers and make them do so much work that they can't get anything done with the ball. If you're exhausted, like out on your feet, it's pretty hard to play make, man. Like... It really is, and Adam Reynolds' clear sheet didn't impact the game from a playmaker's point of view. And then, I mean, where was his tackle stats? I mean, 25 tackles in a game, 7 missed is pretty horrendous. But it's not just 25 tackles; it's 25 times tackling Fisher Harris, Moses Leota, man. That's not a normal 25 tackles, man. Like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. That's like making 50 tackles. And I think Penrith did that really, really well. I thought Reynolds handled it well. I mean, 7 missed tackles, a bit high. You'd love that under 5, but we're talking, like some of these negative stats for both teams. I actually don't think anyone played horrendously. I actually just think sometimes like you make a missed tackle, right? Like a couple of these missed tackles for each of them is just the other dude was brilliant. You didn't do anything wrong. Like, and it was the same the other way around. Like, if we go to these team lists, right? If we go to these team stats, right? Look how many missed tackles there are. Tackle breaks there are. Look at this. Like, this is elite offense from both teams. So, like, so many of these missed tackles, and that's why I'm not going to bag anyone for these missed tackles. Normally, you're playing... you're playing a lower team, and a team does this to them. You're like, geez, they defended poorly. But I'm actually not going to bag anyone's defense too horribly, because I just think both teams were so good on offense. Like, I just think there were so many good players in both teams that it just didn't matter who was defending them. They were getting by them. It was. Like I said, like for example, last week Tago just did a terrible miss, right, on Olam. Like these, when there was missed tackles, it wasn't like when Reece Walsh just burnt Cleary. Cleary didn't do anything wrong. Reece Walsh just beasted, bro. Like Reece Walsh just put on the perfect bit of subtlety before he exploded into a gap and completely wrong-footed Cleary. Cleary, he would have done that to every player on earth. It's just this sort of thing. So, again, I'm not really bagging Reynolds for those 7 misses, but, yeah, obviously you'd like these numbers a little lower, sort of thing. Now, I thought Billy was all right. I thought he tried a little bit too hard in his second stint, but all good. Kate Will and Jordan Ricky were okay. Again, no one was horrendous. I can't remember Palacia playing much, to be honest. And then Kobe Hetherington barely got any minutes. I don't even remember Pia Cora coming on. I don't really remember what they were like. But yeah, Payne Haas, big minutes, big moments. But again, I want to, and look, this is brilliant. This is what I just wanted to point out about people all year about Fisher Harris and why I want to give him their bickies. Payne Haas has had a brilliant game in this game. He was amazing. But what I've said about Payne for a long time, and people think I hate him because I say this, is to me, again, yeah, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. Fisher Harris and Moses Leota have been the best. And I kept seeing all these stats during the week. It was pissing me off. And they're like, look how many more metres Payne Haas gets. Or look at these, look at these stats. Not even close. Payne's way better than them. Like, and geez, even in the commentary, every time Payne Haas took a hit up, I was like, oh my God. Okay, like he played 65 minutes, which is great. 150 metres, 63 post contact, 6 tackle busts. Brilliant game of footy. Like, brilliant. And then these two do this, and no one cares. Fisher Harris, 58, so he played less minutes. Ran for 170. 40 post contact, so not quite as many post contact. Play the ball speeds were quicker. 8 tackle breaks, so more tackle breaks. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Look how quick Moses Leota play the ball is. Like, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you say that they're better when they're literally putting up the same numbers, better numbers with less minutes? Doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if like one of the best for sure, but like again, I think Payne Haas plays better against like lower, like he just destroys them. Whereas I feel like Moses Leota and Fisher Harris, they just do their jobs. But like the proof's in the pudding, man. Like Fisher, like they blitzed them. They let's look at Flegg's numbers. I just said Flegg's had a brilliant game, and this isn't me bagging these guys. I'm not bagging Flegg's and Payne Haas. I'm telling you, I'm trying to explain how good Fisher Harris and Moses are, because I'm sick of everyone just not talking about how great they are. They restricted Flegler to 93 metres and 27 post contact. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, how is this better than that? Like, the numbers are here. I've been seeing them every week. People think I'm crazy. I'm like, bros, you know, it's crazy to me. Like, again, like Fisher Harris and Moses, they'll blitz a team, right? Ivan Cleary knows how important they are to their thing. He'll pull them off. They'll only play 35 minutes. And then Payne Haas will play 65, and people are like, look how much better Payne Haas's numbers are. No shit, he played for twice the amount of minutes, man. Fisher Harris and Moses Leota weren't needed for the rest of this game. But again, not bagging Payne. I'm bagging the people talking about Payne. Shut up. Look at numbers. You know, it's like, yeah, I mean, even with, I'm not bagging LeBron, but, you know, he's breaking, like, every record. He's been playing for 20 years, bro. Of course he is. You know, but of course he's scored more points than MJ. He's literally played 7 more seasons than him, you know. It's always going to happen. But, yeah, if you the more you play, the bigger your numbers are. But, again, can't stress this enough, not bagging him. Now, Paddy Carrigan got pretty blitzed in the first. I've actually never seen him get blitzed before. Was shocking. Oh, I just thought he only ran for 79 metres. That's Kurt Capewell. I was going to say, Jesus Christ. But a second stint, absolutely brilliant. I mean, he played 71 minutes, 159 metres, pretty damn good, 53 post contact. But he got put in his seat a few times. And, he got up, kept doing his thing, marching forward. But he just could not find his front like he normally does. They wrestled him really well. Such a good job by the Penrith forward pack, the way they handled them. It was damn good. But yeah, like that's it for the Broncos. Like I said, Cobbo pretty quiet, sketchy under the high ball, couple good runs. Herbie, few errors. I thought Tony was beasting. He was spazzing out there, man. Jesse Arthurs, hands down the best game of rugby league I've ever seen him play. Ran hard, tackled hard. Unfortunately, made a terrible error, but it happens. Ricky was okay. It was solid. Just some of these players just outplayed their opposite number. Some got just outplayed by their opposite number, sort of thing. Let's have a look at some Penrith numbers. Now, no one's even talking about this, bros. Did you know in this game, Dylan Edwards ran for 306 metres, bro? He just ran 306 metres on the Brisbane Broncos. Wow. And like I said, I've already given Moses Leota and Fisher Harris a rap. They're absolutely brilliant. They won the middle and proved they are the best forward rotation in the game. I thought Liam Martin was really quiet. Isaiah Yeo got knocked out, came back on, was pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of Spence and Lindsay Smith this game. Normally they come on and really dominate the backups for the other team, and they really didn't get on top at all. I don't know about you, but I felt Sorensen was running like a pussy. Like he was just running, not pussy, slow. Just he looked like he was running and turning into the line. He didn't run with any venom. I don't know if it was just everyone else was just on a new level and he just didn't find that level. But yeah, crazy, man. Tago looked dangerous, but didn't really break the game open. Crichton just, him and Cleary just put it on their back. I mean, it feels like he had a quiet game. Yeah, punched out 180 metres. It's just, just 5 tackle breaks, no dramas. Luai came off early. This is another thing that made this Penrith thing crazy. In the second half, they lost Luai, Sorensen, and Isaiah Yeo. What? Oh, bro. What the hell? Oh. But man, like I said, I think Cleary's damn near immortalised himself. Like I said, what he's done so far already, right? He doesn't have to do much more to become an immortal. Like, what's 2007, no, 2013 now. So we've got 7 more Origins, or 6 more Origins, so 2024. If he wins 3 of them, and wins another premiership or 2 before 2030. I mean, like, over the next sort of 5 to 7 years. It's a wrap. You can't not immortalise him. He would have shattered every record every immortal's ever had. Like, you can't. It's crazy. All right, we'll have a quick look at these team stats, guys, and we'll go through everything. I'm just absolutely blown away. Look, at the end of the day, both teams got 38 cracks. Penrith completed 37 of theirs. Broncos completed 27 of theirs. That, like I said, I felt like the game was won or lost at the start. I know Cleary won the game for them, clearly. But this is the reason the Broncos didn't have any gas in the tank to defend that, I believe, was back here. Again, not taking anything away. Damn near ran for 2Ks again. Having said that, I want to give Broncos a rap. This number was at well over 1,100 at half time. So they actually won the second half as far as metres gained, which is pretty brilliant. Broncos won the line breaks. Didn't win the post-contact metres. I think, might be wrong. Payne Haas was the only guy bending the line. Like I said, Fleggs normally bends the line a bit. He didn't. He was solid, but he didn't bend the line like he can. Paddy Carrigan was, like I said, getting wrestled pretty hard. So I'm going to put him his back twice. I was like, damn, he always finds his front. Tackle breaks, insane. Average set distance, like I said, 52. That's a lot, but this was higher earlier. And Broncos, this was in the mid-30s at halftime. So again, brilliant effort in the second half to get that up. So this number's changed since I checked it last. So ruck speed, identical. I dare say Penrith in the first half was substantially higher than the Broncos, and then it's flipped and ended up pretty damn even. That's pretty much what happened. It was a tale of two halves. Like, Penrith on top early, Broncos won the end of the second half, and then Broncos on top, and then Penrith won the end of the second half. Oh man, nuts. What else we got here? Kicking meters, pretty damn even. Kick defusals, 93%. That's brilliant from the Broncos. 40-20s, one each. Brilliant 40-20 by Billy Walters. That was great. Tackle efficiency, 80 to 83. Missed tackles. Look at this. Again, I don't think this is bad defense. I just think the offense was so good that the defense just got cooked. I'd normally, if Penrith did this or Broncos did this during the year against any other team, I'd be like, shit, worse defense than the Broncos. They're going to have to be better if they're going to win a comp. That's what I would be saying. But in this game, I'm not. Both their attacks were just so damn sharp. Ineffective tackles. But yeah, again, this is the one here. It's here, and it's up here, guys. This is where the game was won and lost for them, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's it. I guess final thoughts is Broncos will be back next year. They're going to be there. They're going to lose a couple of players. I feel like they might be a little bit like Penrith at the start of this year. It might take them a little while to find their feet without Fleggs and without, what's his name, Palacia and Herbie. And it might take them a little while to find, maybe another front rower who can genuinely take, because one of the reasons Broncos forward pack's been so good this year has been like, oh, cool, you want to target Haas? Yeah, here's Carrigan. Oh, cool, you want to target Carrigan? Here's Flegler. You can't. You'll get split. You know, someone's getting quick play at the balls, and they just rotate through it so good. Now, I think Broncos have showed me enough that they'll be in the top 4 next year. A grand final's not guaranteed, and I feel like they could actually drop a few games early, depending who they play. They might have a soft start to the draw, but I feel like they might have a little bit of teething next year. Little bit of a, you know, Parramatta-ish sort of start to the year. Maybe not that bad, but you get what I'm saying. A little bit of a grand final dump. It happens, and that's what makes what Penrith done so great, because they haven't got it. I haven't had to do it. But I genuinely think, to me, they look like a top 4 team without those two guys. Like, during the year, I'm pretty sure they won games without Flegler, and I'm sure they'll missing someone else as important as Herbie at some point in time and still won games. So I'm sure they'll be just fine. As far as Penrith, I got asked this question a lot. Can they four-peat? Yeah. Crichton leaves, Tiny May comes in. They also have Alamotti coming through and Tyrone Peachy's backups. So they're so deep in that position. Tiny May is, I don't think people remember, bro was tall. They're pretty much just getting another tall in the centres. Big, strong, fast, athletic footwork. They're still going to have probably the best outside backs in the game, because Taruva's come in and taken May's spot. Oh, cool, May, you just go in the centres now. We're good. Spencer Leno is a bit of a loss, but he played pretty poor tonight and they still won a grand final. Oh, this Penrith team is so good. What the hell is going on in the world? But yeah, it's like I said, I would not be surprised if this is the grand final again next year. A lot has to go right for both teams, including injuries. One thing I'm really worried about is Renault staying healthy. Like I said, Broncos are a young team, except for Renault, and he's the most important. But yeah, it's pretty damn brilliant what Penrith have been able to do. And like I said, Broncos fans, don't be upset. You should be proud of your boys. They were absolutely brilliant, and I'm really glad I'm sitting here talking about what a brilliant game it was and not how bad the refs were. For real, shout out to the refs. Absolutely brilliant, and we're done. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any long videos over the break, guys, but thanks to everyone that's hung around and stuck by and giving me your punts. Even if you're out there saying, you don't know, what are you talking about? Still love you. And until next year, lads. Now, I'll be back. I'll be doing videos, but probably more shorts, guys. So I'm not going anywhere over this period. A little bit of NBA stuff. We've still got some internationals and stuff like that as well. So I'll be here doing videos. Make sure you follow us on my TikTok and all that sort of stuff as well. Keep everyone up to date. And I'll probably do odd videos as well on just if there's big news. Like, say, Ben Hunt gets traded to the Titans. You know, I'll do a video and talk about that and stuff as well. So thank you all so much for watching, guys. And I'll see you next year.